Hello, friends, and welcome to my new podcast episode, the first one in 2026. My January was quite productive need-wise, and I've got a few finished projects, new designs, and some news from Vitalina Craft to share with you today. Let's start with my biggest project, which is cable vest for myself. I needed this vest after watching TV show The Celebrity Traitors on BBC. As you can see, it is cable vest with quite a lot of positive ease. It has quite deep armholes, round neckline, and combination of cables and diamonds on both front and back. It also has dropped shoulders. I loved this vest when I was watching this TV show, and I decided that I need one, and knitted this vest looking at the photo. This vest different from original, as it is my design. I replaced the cables, I replaced the diamonds for this one. For this vest, I used a diamond from one of my previous design, which is cable whisper vest. I decided not to knit any textured stitches on the sides because I just didn't like the look of textured stitches on this yarn. I tried quite a few ones, but I didn't like any. So I decided to stick to the cables, diamonds, vertical stocking lines, and reverse stockinette background. All I took from the original vest is the idea and placement of cables. I completely changed the style, the shape, stitches, neck finishing. I made a bit deeper and wider neck, and it looks absolutely different from the original one. Also, I knitted double edge stitches, which looks pretty interesting and do not require any other armhole bands or any other finishing touches. So vest has quite a lot of positive ease, and it would look interesting and stylish, I think, with any trousers, jeans, or maybe even skirt. I haven't tried it on yet with any trousers because I just finished it. So the vest is finished. I think I love this model and this style. I don't plan to write the pattern for this vest, and also I have a very mixed feeling about this yarn. I knitted this vest with Rowan Alpaca Soft Decay, which is quite interesting soft blend of yarn, which the label says it's made with extra fine, super fine merino wool and baby alpaca. The yarn looks beautiful, it's soft, it's pretty, it's smooth, it's doesn't change after washing, but it's not cheap yarn. I think I will check. One skein of yarn costs about, I think, £8.69. Rowan is a UK brand of yarn. It's produced in Europe. As I said, it's not cheap. It's not a budget yarn. So for this price, I expect from yarn to be soft, to be durable, and the finished garment should be wearable. It should last for a long time. It should be easy to wash, easy to look after, and I expect to yarn look beautiful for a long time. So this yarn knits up lovely, beautifully. It's smooth, it's soft, it has a lovely texture, it creates beautiful stitches, cables, stocking stitch, reverse staccato stitch. Everything is fine until you need to unravel it and to redo something. In general, I had no problems with this project because I knitted quite a few swatches. I adjusted width of cables and length of repeat, so everything. I think I knitted about 4 swatches, and I was happy with the result, with cable placement, with my calculations. But I had a big problem with the neckband. As you can see, I decided to knit quite, I wouldn't say quite complicated, but time-consuming neckband, which completely hides the neck edge of the front and back parts. You can see everything is hidden inside because the lower part of neckband has 2 layers, and the neckband itself, it's very simple to buy 2 ribbon, and it's knitted in 1 layer. So my first effort wasn't very successful, as I did not calculate the quantity of stitches correctly from the first time, and it's turned it out to be quite wide. So I decided to unravel it and redo the neckband, and this is when I started to experience problem with this yarn. First of all, it was quite hard to unravel this yarn. The yarn started to become fluffy. Fibers started to stick to each other. First of all, I spent quite a lot of time to unravel the neckband, and then the look of yarn completely changed from the smooth one to the fluffy, untidy, and unpretty. Luckily, I had some spare yarn to replace the neckband, but honestly speaking, the edge of neck became a bit untidy too. If I look closer to my waist, I can see the visible difference between untouched fabric and here along the edge. I will try to show you this effect on a close-up video. Hope you would see this. So in general, it's a lovely project. I love the finished result. I think I will have a lot of use of this vest in few months when spring starts, because I love cables, I love vests. But if you would ask me if I would recommend this yarn to any knitter, or if I'm going to buy it again for another project, I think no. Because despite on the look, I think this yarn should be at least cheaper, or it should be improved somehow. So I don't know what's wrong with it. Probably it was made with very short fibers, or maybe it's dyeing process or production process. I don't know. But I don't like it, and I'm not going to buy this yarn again. I think probably in the future I will try to reknit this vest in other yarn, maybe in lighter shade. Maybe I would even try a bit thicker yarn, probably worsted or Aran. We'll see. I also think probably I can change design a bit, make different type of shoulder. I'm thinking about European shoulder, but at the moment I will leave this vest as it is and try to wear it. I also used this vest to record a video tutorial for knitting of cables. If you haven't seen this video tutorial, please watch it. Maybe you can find a new way for knitting of cables. I showed many different types of cables and a few methods of knitting cables with cable needle and without. So you definitely would find a few useful tips, especially if you love knitting cables and looking for some ways to improve your knitting. My next project is Hats Queen leg warmers, which I knitted for myself. This design is much luckier. It's quite simple, and as you can see, it's a bit unusual. Those leg warmers are knitted in simple gaze stitch and decorated with beautiful cable hearts, both sides, around ankle area. They have foot bands going around the heel, and knitting of those leg warmers start from the foot band straight in the middle, going to both sides and slowly shaping the foot band into this beautiful cable motif. After we finish two sides of foot band with those pretty cables, we need to join for knitting in the round and start knitting our body of leg warmer in simple gaze stitch. I used this beautiful cable heart in my other designs earlier. I think I knitted a few hats for children and adults, as well as sweater, child coat and child poncho. I still got more ideas for this cable, but at the moment I've got an open test knit for this leg warmers, and I hope to publish this pattern hopefully by the end of this week. The leg warmers are knitted with decay weight yarn. Despite on simplicity of this project, I had quite an interesting designing process, as I needed to adjust the size and shape of this hat so it could fit a few sizes. I needed to adjust the width, the length of this cable. Also, I needed to find the proper yarn so my calculation would work for every size. I think I needed about probably 10 samples, and I tried a few yarns. I think this one is Drops Lima. I used Drops Nepal, which is Aran weight yarn, but it looks a bit too big for this project. I also tried Drops Puna, and I also tried Drops Soft Tweed, and my favorite is Drops Charisma, I think. No, it's not Drops Charisma, it is Drops Lima. which is 65% of wool and 35% of alpaca, and I wrote the pattern for one strand of decay yarn based on Drops Lima. Also, I tried to add in a mohair yarn to Drops Lima, and I think it creates beautiful effect. Like usual, you add mohair and it changes everything. So the leg warmers I knitted in gaze stitch, and I finished them with double layered edge band knitted in stocking stitch. It's quite simple. My main task also was to make sure that this leg warmers stays on and don't slip down along the leg. So I think I achieved this. It was a bit of challenge for myself, but the result is beautiful and I love it. And I'm currently working on another sample. I'm knitting a smaller size for my daughter, and here I'm knitting with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, which creates decay weight, and also with a strand of mohair. I've got the feeling that if you knit with 2 strands of thinner yarn, you are able to adjust the row gauge. I don't know, maybe it's just my feeling, but when I knit with decay and then knit with the same gauge but with fingering, 2 strands of fingering yarn, my stitch gauge is the same, but my row gauge looks a bit different. The difference is not big. It's maybe 1 or 2 rows, but it's quite noticeable, and I think that wider or smaller row gauge looks a bit prettier, especially if you're talking about gaze stitch. For other stitches like stocking stitch or any texture stitches, it's not so noticeable or not so crucial, but for gaze stitch it definitely looks better. I don't know, maybe it's just my feeling, but I like it. It looks good. So also I'm using this leg warmer. I want to keep saying slipper. I don't know why it's leg warmer, but before I knitted a few designs of slippers, so I keep trying to say slipper, but no, it's leg warmer. So I'm using this leg warmer for recording a video tutorial because the beginning of process could look a bit tricky or complicated for some knitters, because I used here provisional cast on. I think it's called magic cast on. So I decided to record a video and show this process of beginning of knitting and setting up cable step by step. And also I've got an idea to knit a bit different edge band. So if my idea would work, I would add another option to the pattern. So knitters can have more flexibility and choice for finishing touches. So yeah, this is my brand new design for 2026, and I hope to share the pattern soon. I already had some feedback from my test knitters, a few finished projects, and looks like this design works perfectly or good. I don't know, we'll see the result. And I hope to finish the video tutorial by the end of this week as well. Another finished project is a winterberry earflap hat, which I completed for my son. I still need to attach the forehead band. I currently attached this with a few stitch markers, but the hat itself is finished. I know I a bit late to the winter, but here in the UK we've got quite cold and windy February and beginning of March, and I think my son still would have some chance to wear this hat and to model this. So I hope to, actually next week is half term, and I hope we will have a lot of works outside and he will have chance to wear this hat, and I will have chance to take some proper photos of this. So this hat is my original design, which I created in 2015. So it's 10 years old, and I knitted this hat a few times. Originally, I designed this for my smaller daughter, and it was knitted in pink, in light pink color, in quite soft yarn. I think originally it was Lana Grossa Cool Wool Big. Yes, it was quite soft and lovely yarn, and I think it's not available in the UK because it was Italian yarn, and I was able to buy this from Europe, as UK was a part of European Union. Now I still can buy this yarn, but you know the delivery charge will be a bit more than cost of this yarn. So now I knit in my second sample, or I knitted my second sample in Drops Charisma. I had a label, yes. No, another mistake. I knitted this yarn in Drops Alaska Mix. It's a wool classic, and I think it's 100% wool. Despite on its content, it's quite soft yarn. It looks very beautiful on cables. You can see the cable is quite nice, and it looks nice on textured stitches in this type of ribbon. So originally I designed this hat 10 years ago, and based on my knitting experience and my knowledge, now I want to change a bit some parts of the pattern. I wanted to improve the fit of the hat. You can see the original hat, the smaller one, has no ribbon. Here this is neck part from the back, and to the new one I added the ribbon, so it would improve the fit and better protection from the wind or from the cold. Also, my original pattern had crochet finishing around ear flaps, which is not ideal situation for a knitting pattern, for knitting project, because not every knitter loves using crochet hook for finishing. So this time I decided to add another option, and for this hat, for my second sample, I used knitting needles. I just casted on number of stitches along the edge of ear flaps and knitted a few rows in gather stitch, and then just closed all stitches, and the effect almost the same, or maybe even prettier than the crochet. So at the moment I plan to fully rewrite the pattern Add second option, change the chart. Actually, I'm not going to change the cable. I just want to improve the chart because it was originally drawn in another software and it wasn't, NITA orientated software, so it looks a bit odd, I would say. So yeah, I'm going to update the pattern, and also I'm working on a video tutorial for this hat as well, and I hope to finish this video tutorial by the end of February or in the beginning of March. I'm not going to open testnet for this project because this project was tested by many knitters. So I didn't change anything in calculation. I just going to improve patterns so it's easier to follow and easier to knit even for less experienced knitters. As you can see, this hat has quite a few stitches. It has cables along the ear flaps. It has one type of ribbon on the front band. It has another type of ribbon, actually very simple 1x1 ribbon on the back, and the body of hat, the middle section of hat, is knitted in honeycomb stitch, and I think this stitch sometimes is difficult for knitters. Personally, I think it's quite easy as soon as you understand the principle, and I'm going to show this principle in my video tutorial, as well as the ribbon for front band. So as I said, the hat is knitted in Alaska Drops Mix. It's a budget-friendly yarn. It's Aran weight yarn, and I'm very excited about this project, and I hope to share pattern soon. So if you've been waiting for this hat, just a bit more time and you will have everything proper, rewritten, improved pattern and full video tutorial. And now it's time for my new cast-ons, and first I'd like to talk about my new summer top, which I'm knitting for my smaller daughter. Actually, I already got an adult version of this top. Honestly speaking, I completed this project last year, but it was beginning of autumn, I think. And by the time when I wrote the pattern, it was a bit late to the party because everybody was already thinking and knitting about winter projects, winter sweaters, winter hats, and probably Christmas gifts. So I decided to postpone this project and didn't show this anywhere in social media or here on YouTube. So as you can see, this design is quite classic. It's quite simple. The front of top is knitted with textured stitch, which is, I think, basket stitch. The top has a round neck. It's quite close to the neck. Short sleeves. It has normal classic length. The sleeves and the back are knitted in stocking stitch, and I used simple 2x2 ribbon for neckband and for the edge bands on a body and around sleeves. The top is knitted bottom up in parts. It has set in sleeve. Honestly speaking, I really love these constructions, despite on my love to seamless knits. I do love seamed garments because I think they've got more structure, and I believe they last longer, and not every yarn you can knit without seams, especially if you're talking about cotton yarn, which is quite heavy, or thicker yarn such as iron weight, bulky, chunky yarn, because if you knit those yarn seamlessly, it can overstretch lengthwise and your garment can lose shape. Maybe it's just my feeling and my experience, but I still don't mind seaming, and I love knitted my garments in parts. So here the top for myself. I knitted it in size small, and at the moment I'm knitting the child version of this top. I'm using the same yarn, and the yarn is Crea Deluxe Organic Cotton, which is spot weight yarn, and it's 165 meters per 50 grams, and recommended needles 3 or 3.5 millimeters. And I think I'm knitting this with 3.5 millimeters needle. The yarn is lovely, it doesn't change after blocking. I already blocked this, I already blocked my sample, and it looks lovely. To be honest, I wore this a few times last autumn, and I love it. I knitted the front of my child sample up to armholes, and I just started armholes shaping. I already wrote both patterns, adult and child patterns, for this top, and I hope to open a new test knit probably next week after I publish the pattern for leg warmers. By the way, let me know your feeling and your thoughts about seamed construction. Do you like knitting your garments in parts, bottom up? What do you think about seaming? If you've got any favorite stitch for seaming garments, or maybe you have some difficulties and want me to show you any techniques, maybe how to sit in sleeve, or maybe how to do shoulder seams or side seams. Those techniques are quite easy, especially if you tried it a few times. You probably should have no problem. But of course, there are some important moments which you need to take into account, especially if you are working with some summer yarns, because in summer we love knitting with cotton, maybe cotton bamboo blend, or maybe with linen yarn. By the way, the linen yarn, the one is most difficult to work with, but it's still great yarn for summer projects, and I love using it for my designs and for knitting for myself. So with this top, I'm thinking about creating a video tutorial for set-in sleeve. I think many people afraid knitting set-in sleeve, and I think I know why. It could be a problem with the shape of top part of the sleeve, or maybe with the length of armhole. Because if your sleeve and armhole of sweater or top are calculated properly, and if your gauge matches the pattern, normally it should be no problem with this type of sleeve. So with a few trials and a few mistakes, you can master this technique, and I think I will show you how to set in sleeve into armhole for this type of design. So yeah, I think that all about this summer top, and now I want to talk about my other summer design, which is another summer top, which I knit with the same yarn but in another color. So this top I'm knitting for myself. You can see this is another textured geometrical stitch. This like bigger blocks and reverse staccato lines between those blocks, and as I said, I knit this with the same yarn, Crea Deluxe Organic Cotton, and this time, despite on my love to seamed tops and sweaters, I decided to knit this top seamlessly as one piece. And here I completed the body up to armholes and started working on a back section. Why I decided to knit this top as one piece? Because of the stitch. As you can see, this stitch has quite big pattern repeat. It's 15 knit stitches and 5 purl stitches, so it's 20 stitches repeat. And if I want to knit this in parts, it will be quite complicated to spread the stitches between front parts, two front parts, and back, and make the stitch symmetrical. Because I plan to knit the top with V-neck and button closure at front. So I decided to knit this seamlessly. And so far I love the result. Here is my swatch. It's in different color. It's the same color as I'm using for knitting of my child top. And as you can see, the stitch looks beautiful from both sides. So I still thinking about which side I'm going to use as the right side of this top. If you've got opinion about this stitch, please let me know. I will add a photo in next minute of video, I think. So if you've got your opinion about side of the stitch, which one should be used as a right side, please let me know. On my sample, I tried a few stitches for finishing. Here I've got 2x2 ribbon, 1x1 ribbon. I tried gaze stitch for the edge, and also I tried double layered stocking stitch edge band. So at the moment I haven't decided about how I'm going to knit the edge band. If I'm going to make proper buttonholes, or maybe just tiny loop armholes, or maybe I can use even hooks. So I'm still thinking about this design because I need to decide about the edge band first. And of course I'm going to use the same stitch as for the edge band for the armhole bands. I'm not going to knit any sleeves, so it will be like sleeveless top with V-neck, with plenty of positive ease, and knitted in a beautiful textured stitch. By the way, I'm still looking at these stitches from right side and from wrong side, and it's hard to decide which one I like better. By the way, I decided to join yarn at the beginning or end of row only, so both sides right side and front side would have no knots or no yarn joints. So I really hope that I will finish this design probably by the end of February. I haven't started writing the pattern yet, but I'm fully calculated and graded the pattern for number of sizes. Also, what I can say, as you noticed, I knitting my tops using the same yarn, and this yarn is from my stash. I think I bought this yarn about 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe even longer, and I bought this in 3 colors. They are quite light. You can see this top is knitted with a bit darker shade. It's like beautiful steel gray. And this one looks like muted apricot. And this one very light gray color. And as I said, I bought this yarn quite a few years ago. I kept it in my stash for a number of years. It was forgotten for a long time, and I think I bought about 10 balls of each color, which is quite a lot. I don't know why I bought so many, but now I already completed one adult top. Last summer I knitted another summer top with some lace stitch, and now I'm working on child top, another adult top, and I still got quite a few skeins. I would say not few, quite many skeins of this yarn in my stash. So my goal for this year, continue knitting from my stash. Honestly speaking, I started knitting and reducing quantity of yarn I buy I think in 2024. So it's already third year for me knitting from my stash. I check my purchases for the yarn, and during 2024 and 2025 I bought the yarn 8 times. So it means 4 times in 2024 and 4 times in 2025. All those purchases were for some special projects. I think 80% of those orders were for projects and not for my stash. And most of those yarns were knitted, and the rest of projects for 2024 and 2025 were knitted from my stash, which is a bit shocking because I still got quite many different skeins of yarn, different types of yarn, and my goal for 2025 continue knitting from my stash. I'm just wondering how many or how much yarn every knitter keeps in their stash at home, and for how many years knitter can knit without buying yarn. I'm afraid to check my stash, but probably one day I will take out all my yarn and try to record a video, or maybe plan how to use it and design based on what I already got. I think I will find quite a few interesting pieces or types of yarn in my stash, which I bought just because they were pretty and they were on sale without any proper plan. Do you buy yarn often? Let me know. I'm so curious if it's only me and other designers, or every knitter does the same, buy yarn, hide it, and keep it secure for the better time. So I think it's all news which I wanted to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next video or next video tutorial. Take care, and until next time, happy knitting!